Um, the message that I'm picking up across the two spreads here is there's a lot of like idealism, thinking about what can be, what should be, the way things should play out, and not enough realism. And so I feel like the message for this week here is, and especially your spiritual advice, is to be very, very realistic with your expectations and to, stop thinking about the fantasy of a person or a situation and looking at, the reality of what you're dealing with in this present day and what practical steps you can take based on all the information you are given and on everything that you know to be true. And so I feel that you kind of need to, remove like the rose-colored glasses and just look at a situation in totality and go from there. Okay. First off, in your love sector, I feel like you're dealing with someone who has emotionally distanced themselves. So this is like an ex, somebody that you might have just recently gotten to know. And I feel like they might have been, seeing you and then like other people. And so if you're looking for, and they're not like deceptive about it either. So you might have, told them, I'm only talking to you and another person. They might be like, oh, I'm talking to a few people, so they're going to be honest about that. And then all of a sudden the communication stops. And then you're like, I wonder what happened to them. Well, they're they've chosen somebody else and they're with another person. And so I feel like there's this emotional stonewalling, this emotional barrier that someone is resurrecting to separate themselves from you. And I also feel like vice versa, you could be doing this with another person. But I feel the energy coming in more from the other person. The person that you're dealing with, I have here the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is the fantasy, the online dating, the communicating via some type of an internet-based method. And this is also like looking at all the choices that are laid out in front of us. Everything looks very shiny and shimmery and just has a lot of potential. But the nature of the Seven of Cups is in the fantasy land. Okay, so you know how people post pictures of themselves that they've edited, that they've cropped out, that they've photoshopped, or that might not even represent who they are right now. It might be from 10, 15 years ago, and they look nothing like their picture. This is what it's like. Internet-based type of dating, or dealing with somebody who is very evasive and not very truthful when it comes to their communication with you. They're not completely truthful about their relationship status. They might be, still married and telling you, oh, they're separated. They might be dating someone and they're like, oh, I'm single. They might like be engaged and then they show up on a date with you without their engagement ban. So I feel like the person that you're dealing with, there is some either lying by omission, or you really like this person, so you're not really, and I find it really rare for a Scorpio to do this, but I feel like you're trapped in the fantasy of the way you see this person, and you're just like, it's almost like having them pegged a certain way, and no matter what they do, you only see them in that way. So I feel like you might see them a lot in a more flattering light than they really are, which can bring about disappointment when the card gets inverted and you start to see the reality of a situation, right? You're dealing with somebody who has a lot of options, who's not very reliable, not very truthful. And it's really important that you come to terms with it. And it's really important that, you kind of disassociate yourself, which I feel is something that's going to happen. the way you're coming into the spread, we have here the Two of Pentacles. And the Two of Pentacles is like juggling multiple options, possibly dating around. So I see a lot of people who might be single, trying their hands at dating, trying to, find somebody that you can really jive with. And at the same time, when you're in this state where financially and emotionally you're very up and down, you're not very stable, and you're not very sure about what you're looking for. You're just like, I just want something out there, but you're not really sure with yourself. What qualities are you looking for? What type of person are you attracting? What type of person do you want to share your life with? What do you want even? Do you want a fling? Do you want a relationship? Do you want marriage? Or do you just want, like friends with benefits? So you need to be very clear about what you want, because this is sort of like wishy-washy. I'll take what I can get. And, I'll go on a few dates and see where it goes. And I see a lot of Scorpio people do that because, innately, you're very understanding that we all are humans. We all have flaws. So you're very open-minded when it comes to the types of people that you date. You might even, you're very open-minded when it comes to, dating outside of your race, outside of your culture, outside of your ethnicity, dating somebody who's a lot older, dating somebody who's a lot younger. You're just very, very open-minded. Because you know that everyone, has their own story, and everyone's lives can be very interesting. So you like to get to know people. But when you're coming into a dating environment and you don't really have a clear sense of what you're looking for, what you want, the whole experience can be very confusing, and you end up wasting a lot of time because you're giving people the benefit of the doubt, even after they have shown themselves to be not relationship material. So be very careful about that for those who are singles, okay? I see like people in their 20s, just going out there having a good time, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, it's important to kind of narrow down, what am I looking for? Even if I'm looking for a friends with benefits, what are some of the innate qualities they need to have in order for me to, sleep with them? So just be a little bit careful. So if you're dealing with this type of a person, I have here the Eight of Cups. So this is, emotionally walking away, emotionally removing themselves from the equation, and emotionally leaving the picture. And then I feel the other person is clinging on, okay? Clinging on to a person, clinging on to the ideals of that person, clinging on to, it should have worked out. Why didn't it work out? And I just feel almost like you're seeing a person for what you think they are rather than what they're telling you. And I feel like you're entering a relationship because you have certain expectations about, what a relationship is going to do, what it's going to add to your life, what it's supposed to be like, and then the reality is not really matching up. And then I also feel like some of you, we have the Four of Wands in the middle of the spread, dealing with somebody who's already taken, dealing with somebody whose heart and soul is elsewhere. And no matter how much you try to cling on and control and will it back, they're exiting the picture, okay? Coupled people, there is an emotional disconnect between you and your relationship partner. I feel like it's like one person wants to do this, pointing this way, the other person wants to do this. One person lives in the countryside, the other person wants more of an urban lifestyle. One person wants to, go to the West Coast, the other person wants to go to the East Coast. One person likes warmer climate, humidity and all of that. The other person wants like snow and cold and seasons. And so preferences between you and your partner, they're very different. And so there needs to be some type of balancing out. There needs to be some truthful communication here, I'm sensing. And there needs to be from your end about, letting go of control, okay? And letting your partner voice their opinion. And especially Don't make decisions prematurely. Listen to what they're saying. You might feel like your partner is being a little bit too frivolous, okay? And I just did the Libra reading, and that word frivolous came up with Libra. So I don't know if you're dealing with a Libra even. But you feel like your partner might not be very grounded and realistic. And so you are taking on the paternal maternal role in the relationship. And that's a recipe for disaster. Okay. Let's not patronize our relationship partner. Let's hear out what they have to say. And you're more than, welcome to kind of debunk some of the things that they're saying, but doing so in a loving manner, and especially hearing them out. That's going to make a world of difference in allowing them to feel heard and understood. Okay. So I'm going to leave it at that because I feel like the relationship sector needs a little bit more work. In other areas of your life, it's really, I see like memory lane, going back through memory lane, reminiscing about the past, reconnecting with old friends and old acquaintances. And the thing that I want to emphasize here is you are at a point in your life where things are really happening for you. Okay. This is like elevation. This is like, on the ground, sea level. And this is elevation. Okay. Being high on this ivory tower, looking at the world and looking at your life and all the possibilities that are available for you. So why would you go back to the past? You have some serious rose-colored glasses that you're wearing, and you're seeing a situation in the most glamorous light, and you're ignoring the reality. That's what I'm seeing here. I feel like you have outgrown a lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of family members. And I feel like they're living in the past. They're living in a kind of like a carefree state. They're not really doing a lot to plan for their future. They're not really making choices to avoid, disappointments and things like that. So they're in a very childlike, innocent stage where they're not really planning anything for the future. And you're at a point where you are very, very, very serious minded. You're trying to move things along. You're trying to build up your financial foundation. You're trying to explore opportunities and you're trying to build up wealth. And you're at a point where you can give very solid, practical advice to people. But the people that are coming to you, they feel like ignorance is bliss. They want to live in the past. They want to, return to this Garden of Eden where everything is available and they don't have to work really hard for anything else. So they're looking for you to kind of like reaffirm that image for them. And I feel like this is the month or the time where it's not appropriate to do that, where you can tell them, till you're blue in the face, but they're not going to listen because their worldview is of idealism and they're living in this state. So they don't want anything, they don't want news or advice or anything to disturb this image. And so what you have to do is kind of turn away from that, okay? We have here the Two of Wands with the Ace of Wands. So this is like the Three of Wands in the making, where you turn your back and you see what else is out there on the horizon. You start to branch out and find people who are a lot more like-minded with you, who are going through your same path, who are going through your same life's journey. And you kind of need to, I feel like, sever that umbilical cord to the past so that you can live your life in the present. Start looking towards the future. Start building up wealth. Start taking care of yourself. Start being financially dependent, start being financially independent. And, just really take care of you. It's going to require that you move away and separate yourselves from people that you actually care about. But in the long run, it's going to be a lot better for you. I see you being bogged down with family, with property, with things that are kind of they are security blankets at first, but over time they can be liability. Okay, family issues, and then the housing needs a lot of fixing up. So over time, if you hang on to these things for too long, they become huge liabilities, and they can really prevent you from making new plans and taking a new direction when it comes to your life to get yourself where you need to be so you're a lot more stable and happy. I'm going to leave it at that, okay, Scorpios? I hope you make some changes. I hope the reading is not harsh, and I hope that it's still applicable to what you're going right now so that you can use this information when you get through this week, okay? Best of luck with everything, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.